Hey guys, back with another video in my cancer story series, and as you can tell by the title, the video is going to be about the treatment that I had and the side effects that I personally experienced. So yeah, I did have someone comment on one of my other videos asking me to make a video about my treatment. And I had already planned to, but I figured I'd make it sooner than later. I know I haven't really been posting as much as I'd like to on my channel as far as my cancer series goes, or any other videos. So I'm going to try to at least start posting regularly once a week, not just for my series, but including like just any other regular vlogs or any other kind of videos like that. So yeah. I'm probably going to be looking down a little bit because I have some stuff on my phone, just so I make sure I cover everything that I want to talk about in this video. So if I'm constantly looking down, that's why. So my treatment, I did it for about a year. I started in September, about the first or second week of September, and I believe my last chemo was in like July or something like that. I had chemo from September to December, and then I had my surgery. Oh, excuse me. And then after my surgery, I continued chemo again from December to July. So I have read and I've heard that that's something very common that they do is, at least with osteosarcoma, they'll give you chemo first, then do a surgery if a surgery is needed, and then continue to give you chemo afterwards. And depending on how your tumor or growth responded to the chemo for the first few months before your surgery, they might either change your treatment or continue how it was after your surgery. So yeah, going into the side effects. Okay, so the three types of chemo that I received was methotrexate, doxorubicin, and cisplatin. And I usually got chemo probably about every 2 weeks. There were times where I had to wait a little bit longer just because my bounce back recovery time was not necessarily what I or my doctors expected. Sometimes it would affect me a little bit more than other times, so instead of 2 weeks it might be 3 weeks. And then there was I think one time where I bounced back really fast, and I was like, you know what, it's only been a week, but let's just go ahead and get the next one over with. And if I feel even crappier because I only waited 1 week instead of 2, I'm totally fine with that. I would rather just get it over with and done. And so I think I did do that only one time, because most of the time it did affect me really badly. The only time it didn't affect me super bad was the very first time I got it. However, I was a little bit surprised about how much it did affect me the first time. The next day or two after I got what, I can't remember which one I got first, but whichever chemo I got first, I was still pretty energetic. I didn't have any sleepiness, nausea, or anything like that. I just started feeling tired probably a week after the first chemo treatment, but every single one after that really affected me kind of a lot. So for cisplatin, the typical side effects are nausea, vomiting, loss of appetite, drowsiness, things like that. I definitely experienced all of those. I did throw up quite a bit during my treatment, but I don't think that it was cisplatin that made me sick the most. As far as methotrexate is concerned, a lot of general side effects are things like loss of appetite, nausea, vomiting, easy bruising, things like that. Similar to cisplatin, but there's a little bit more, there's a couple more side effects that might happen with methotrexate that might not happen with cisplatin. But with that one, I also had nausea, vomiting, I did have a lot of appetite. I noticed that over the course of my treatment, if I did bruise, I bruised pretty easily, and I usually I already bruised pretty easily, but I noticed that it was a little bit worse during my treatment. Side effects of doxorubicin is pretty similar to the other ones: nausea, vomiting, all those things. A long-term effect that I know that can occur is heart issues. Over time. So during my treatment, I always had to get echocardiograms to see how my heart was doing, see if anything was changing, if there were any issues. And up until this point, I haven't had any heart issues, thankfully. Really grateful. And then another thing is sometimes with chemo, they always want to check. Well, my doctors always wanted to check my hearing because of the type of chemo that I was getting. I could, there was a possibility that I would have loss of hearing. Not complete loss of hearing like I was going to go deaf, but maybe just a little bit of loss of hearing. And I have experienced that it's mostly high-pitched noises that I can't hear very often, or if a high-pitched noise goes off, my ears start to ring. So when I take my hearing test, I take one every once in a while just to see how my hearing is decreasing, or if it's staying the same, or what's happening. When they play the higher pitched noises, I can't hear it at all. And the first time I took my hearing test after chemo, the person who was testing me was like, "Oh, let me play it again. Like, you must not have realized that it was playing." And I was like, "What was playing?" They were like, "Wait, you didn't hear that at all?" And I was like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." And that's when they realized that high-pitched noises or something that was something I couldn't hear anymore. High frequencies, my high-frequency hearing was affected. But everything else is good. Like, I can hear people talking and stuff like that. And they said that eventually I might need to get a hearing aid because my hearing is actually decreasing as time goes on. My hearing was actually worse than about 3 years ago. I think like 2 or 3 years ago was the last time they tested me, and then I got tested again within the past year, and it had decreased actually quite a bit. So they were a little bit concerned, but it's still only the high-pitched noises that are being affected. So I'm not having to worry about getting a hearing aid now or anything like that. So there are other side effects that might not necessarily come from one specific type of chemo. I did experience hair loss and mouth sores to the point where I could not eat anything because my throat was covered in sores, my lips were covered in sores, the whole inside of my mouth was covered in sores. I do remember there was a time when I was in the hospital and the nurse was trying to get me to eat something super simple like applesauce or something like that, and I refused to do it because I could barely talk without my mouth hurting, let alone stick food in my mouth, regardless of what kind of food it was. So I did experience that actually quite often with the chemo. My mouth sores got pretty bad actually. It was not fun at all. They're very painful. When I didn't have a lot of mouth sores in my mouth and I would try to eat, if I ate certain kind of foods like chips or any hard foods, any solid foods that weren't like applesauce or mashed potatoes or something like that, it would like scrape against the sores on the inside of my mouth and it would open them back up, and it was just painful beyond belief. But I think definitely the side effect that bothered me the most was, of course, losing my hair and vomiting, because I actually hate throwing up. Like, even now, if I feel nauseous, I'm like, nope, I refuse to throw up. I can't do it. Like, I hate it. Like, and I hate it even more now after having to throw up all the time during treatment. So yeah, those are just the side effects that I personally experienced with the chemo and during my treatment. A lot of other people may not experience these things. I've met other cancer survivors, cancer patients who are going through treatment or who have had treatment who didn't lose their hair, who don't feel nauseous, things like that. It really just depends on your body. You can't control how your body's gonna react, unfortunately, because trust me, if you could, I definitely would have taken throwing up out at least. But yeah, so those are just the treatments and side effects that I personally had, that I experienced. So yeah, I just wanted to make this video, share that with you guys. If you guys have any questions about my treatments, my diagnosis, the type of cancer I had, anything you want to ask, just feel free to leave it in a comment below, and I'll be more than happy to answer it for you. If there is any kind of video that you like me to make, any kind of information that you're curious about, just leave a comment about it, and if I'm comfortable sharing it with you guys, I'll definitely make a video about it. Most of the things I don't have a problem sharing, and that's one of the reasons I'm making this series now, is just to share this information, because I know that when I was diagnosed, I was looking up videos to see, oh well, how did this person react? What kind of treatments did they get for their cancers, or what are some of the side effects of these different types of chemotherapies that I was getting? I was very curious about these things, so I want to share it now. So if anyone is curious about the treatments for osteosarcoma that are common, they can watch this video and find out the names and the side effects and things like that. So yeah, I will hopefully make another video within the next week or two. I'm not really sure exactly what the video will be about just yet, but like I said, if you guys have any ideas or requests, just comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
From here on in, it's just me and you. I waited for something, and something died. So I waited for nothing, and nothing arrived. Well, I guess it's over, I guess it's begun. It's a loser's table, but we've already won. It's a funny battle, it's a constant game. I guess I was busy when nothing came. I guess I was busy